When you picture a hacker, what do you see? Probably a hoodie, right? Green text scrolling down a dark screen, lots of frantic typing. Yeah, the movies have really given us a specific image. But what if I told you the reality is, well, it's way less about random chaos and a lot more about a super structured, disciplined craft? That's what we're digging into today. We're going to follow the entire journey of an ethical hacker.
So let's just start with this idea right here. Hacking is an elite profession. Seriously, forget all those stereotypes. This isn't some shady hobby you do in a basement. It's a top-tier profession that demands a crazy deep understanding of technology. Think about it like this. You have to be a master architect who also knows every single way a building could possibly crumble.
So that's the big question, right? What does it really take? Well, that's our mission for this explainer. We are going to walk that exact path together, from setting up the very first tool all the way to writing the final report. We're going to see what it takes to think, act, and ultimately succeed as an ethical hacker. All right, let's get into it.
Okay, so every great artist needs their studio, right? A painter has a canvas, a musician has an instrument. For a hacker, that studio is a specialized operating system. And that's where we're starting, the toolkit, the absolute undisputed champion of the hacking world, Kali Linux.
Now, before you even think about writing a single line of code, the absolute first priority is a safe environment. I mean, you can't just start poking around on the live internet. That's a recipe for disaster. So step one is always to build your own digital lab, a virtual machine, using something like VirtualBox. This basically creates an isolated sandbox, a safe space where you can practice, test things out, and break stuff without causing any real-world damage.
And the setup itself is, it's a pretty methodical process. You give your new virtual machine a name, here it's Kali, you tell it what kind of system it's going to run, and you give it enough memory to do its job. It's really just like laying the foundation for a new workshop before you bring in all the cool tools.
So why all the fuss about Kali Linux? Why this specific one? Well, it really just comes down to pure efficiency. First off, over 90% of all the hacking tools out there are written for Linux, and Kali, it comes pre-packaged with literally hundreds of them right out of the box. Essential stuff like the network scanner Nmap and the exploitation framework Metasploit. It's basically a professional-grade toolkit ready to go, all built on a super stable foundation.
All right, so our workshop is built, the tools are all racked up on the wall. Now what? You can't just start swinging a hammer, right? You need a plan, a blueprint. This is where we get into the playbook. This is absolutely not about random, chaotic attacks. It's a methodical, systematic investigation. And as you can see, professional ethical hacking follows a very specific playbook. This is the official process. It starts with pre-engagement, which is basically planning and getting permission. Then you move into information gathering, just seeing what you can find publicly. After that, you're modeling threats, analyzing for vulnerabilities, and only then do you get to the exploitation phase. But look, it doesn't stop there. The final steps, post-exploitation, figuring out what you can do after getting in, and then reporting everything are arguably the most important parts of the whole job.
But a playbook is only as good as the person using it. Having the right process is absolutely critical, but the real secret weapon, the thing that separates a good hacker from a great one, it's something you can't download or install. It's a mindset, a completely different way of looking at the world.
And this comparison just nails it. Think about it. A developer's whole job is to make sure a feature works exactly the way it's supposed to. They build a beautiful, strong door, and they test that the key works perfectly. The hacker? They couldn't care less about the key. They're checking the windows, rattling the air vents, poking at the drywall. They are obsessed not with how it's supposed to work, but with all the brilliantly creative ways it can be forced to fail. And this quote from the famous bug hunter Ziano, it just gets right to the heart of it all. He says he taught himself to hack and code from natural curiosity. That's the key. It's not just about technical skill. It's about this relentless, innate curiosity, that need to take things apart just to see how they tick, and more importantly, how you can make them break. That's the real engine driving a great hacker. Okay, so this is it. This is the moment we've been building towards, the climax of the hunt. This is where the tools, the process, and that unique, curious mindset all come together to find that one tiny crack in the armor. We hear about vulnerabilities and exploits all the time, but what does that eureka moment actually look like in the real world? Let's break down an example, because honestly, it's often way simpler and a whole lot more clever than you might imagine. So check this out. Our target is this web panel, a common tool called PHP MyAdmin. It's normally used to manage a website's database, but in this case, someone messed up the configuration and left it wide open to the world. This is like leaving the master key to your entire apartment building just sitting on the doormat. Anyone who stumbles upon this page can now talk directly to the server's database, no questions asked.
All right, now for the actual attack. It's so clever. The hacker uses a special database command, an SQL query. But they aren't trying to steal data. No. Instead, they're basically telling the database, hey, I know you're busy storing data, but could you do me a quick favor and create a brand new file for me on the web server? And that new file, shell.php, it's tiny. It contains just one single incredibly powerful line of code that acts as a secret backdoor.
And when the hacker navigates to that brand new file they just created, this is the message that pops up. This one line, this is iconic in the hacking world. It's the digital equivalent of whispering we're in. It means the backdoor worked. They've opened what's called a meter-preter session, which is basically a super powerful remote control connection to the target machine. They have officially gained a foothold inside the system.
Now, for a malicious attacker, this might be the end of the story. Mission accomplished, right? But for an ethical hacker, this is where the real work, the most important work, is just getting started. Getting in just proves the weakness exists. Now they have to help fix it.
And that brings us to the final and absolutely crucial phase of this journey. The hacker has to completely switch hats now. They go from being the attacker to being the teacher. Their job is to communicate what they've found so clearly that the flaw can be stamped out for good.
You know, a great bug report is really an art form. It's not enough to just email someone and say, hey, your website is broken. That's useless. You have to provide a perfect recipe for disaster. That means a clear title, a solid summary of the issue, and, this is the most critical part, exact numbered steps that let a developer reproduce the bug themselves perfectly every single time. You show them what should have happened, and then you show them what actually happened, and you back it all up with proof like screenshots or logs. Just take a look at this example summary. It is perfect. It tells you the exact problem, users can't log in. It specifies the environment, only on Safari version 14.1. It even details the specific behavior. The login button just doesn't do anything. It's crystal clear, it's concise, and a developer can immediately start working on it. This is how you help build a stronger defense. And really, that brings us full circle, doesn't it? The journey of an ethical hacker, it's not a path of destruction at all. It's this incredibly rigorous process of discovery and then communication. They break things not to create chaos, but to create clarity, to find those hidden flaws so that all of us can build a safer, more secure digital world. It's not about being the villain in the story. It's about being the most critical, most valuable partner a developer could ever ask for.